Hey, what is up, mortals? It is me, Dylan, here, with a new video for you. Welcome to part 8 of What If Deku Had a Decay Quirk. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, cause you're in for a treat. So, we begin. We have the same quirk. Izuku was left in shock and fear as he stood there, unable to move, from the horrors he just witnessed. The rest of the USJ was a spectacle to be seen by the other students, as All Might and a few other heroes arrived and saved the day. All Might even fighting off the weird Birdman villain with mighty strength. But for Izuku, things were not as great, as the rest of the USJ was all a blur for him, as his mind refused to let go of the realization of his similar quirk to a villain who tried to kill a bunch of students. The entire way back to UA, Izuku felt sick to his stomach as he remembered all the people telling him he couldn't be a hero with his quirk while he was growing up. Finally, when they arrived back at the UA, Izuku felt someone tap on his shoulder from behind. Looking back, Midoriya saw it was Bakugo, trying to get his attention. "Hey Izuku, you alright? The entire way back you looked spooked, like you've seen a ghost." Bakugo asked his friend, concerned, but Izuku was worrying in his mind if he really could tell Bakugo what happened. In Midoriya's head, he kept thinking of the worst. Would Bakugo see him in a bad light for having a similar quirk to a villain? Izuku realizes he was worrying for nothing, and decides to tell his friend what happened. "There was a villain back at the USJ who tried to attack Tsu. I was able to stop him, but I found out right after that his quirk was similar to mine, like an exact copy of each other." Bakugo looks at Izuku, surprised to hear this kind of news. "This may sound mean. Screw it. When have I ever worried about sounding mean? Izuku, stop worrying about that. What other people do with their quirks does not reflect upon you." "But..." Izuku tries to cut into what Bakugo was saying, but was shut up by Bakugo quickly. "Shut up and let me finish. Just because you and the villain have similar quirks doesn't mean anything, so stop worrying about it. There's always the slightest chance someone has a similar quirk to you. Hell, there might even be someone with an explosion quirk like mine somewhere on this planet. I didn't give the slightest care to what they're doing." Bakugo looks at Izuku's expression and spots that he is getting through to him, so he keeps going. "If it truly worries you that a villain has a quirk like yours, then continue training at UA. Maybe once you graduate, we can teach that villain a lesson." Bakugo chuckled, which got a reaction out of Izuku. "Thanks, Kachan." Bakugo and Izuku both walked home, since classes that day were cancelled. The next day, everyone returned to UA for class. Many students were still talking about the attack yesterday, and how the entire school was talking about it. Izuku didn't want to talk about what happened, so he secluded himself at his desk, waiting for class to start. Eventually, Aizawa walked into the classroom. Just by showing up, he caused the entire class to stop talking and scatter back to their seats. Aizawa sighed as he stood behind his podium at the front of the classroom. The exhausted teacher was covered in bandages from his injury the day prior. The bandaged teacher stood at the front of the room and got straight to the main topic of today's class. "Okay, class. This is a big announcement being told to every class, so pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Soon, there will be the annual UA Sports Festival. This class will obviously be eligible to take part in this sports festival." Aizawa explained the premise of the sports festival to the class. One student had their hand raised for a question, and Aizawa called on them to go ahead and ask their question. Tenya Ida stood up and asked his question. "Is the UA staff completely sure about this decision right after the USJ attack? It feels unwise to continue as if nothing happened." Ida questions the choice made by the staff of UA, bringing up points that worry his fellow classmates, bringing up the possibility of another attack. "I understand your concern, Ida, and that was brought up in the meeting for the sports festival. However, we decided that having this event so soon after the attack was the better choice than shutting it down or delaying it. If we had delayed or shut the event down, then they would show the villains that they had won." That answer was enough for Tenya, who thanked the teacher and sat back down. Class started, and everyone went back to learning and went through their normal classes. Soon lunch came, and Izuku met together with his friends, and they all sat together eating lunch. The group was a bit bigger today, with Uraraka and Ida joining them, since the topic of the sports festival was brought up. "How do you all feel about the sports festival?" Ida asked everyone in the group, getting varying reactions from all of them. It seems like a great opportunity to show off our quirks. Maybe we could be scouted by some famous heroes. With this opportunity, we definitely could get some attention. Maybe we could even get popular enough to start making serious money when we become pro heroes. Yeah, definitely. Hey, Midoriya, are you excited about the sports festival? Kirishima asked Izuku, after noticing they were lost in thought, to try to bring him back into the conversation. Huh? What? Oh, I guess. I'm not sure how I could use my quirk for a festival, but I think I could figure something out. He said he was trying to stay positive, but there was still some doubt in his voice. Don't worry, Izuku. We know you can come up with something. You're definitely one of the smartest at this table. Yeah, you're probably the second smartest here. After me, of course, since I am very clearly number one. Kaminari jokes, but swiftly gets a chop to the head by Ashido. Hey, that's mean! Kaminari yells at Ashido. Don't tell obvious lies like that. You even admitted you barely passed the written entrance exam. Ashido stays getting a laugh out of most people at the table, including Kaminari. Are there any heroes you want in particular to scout you, Midoriya? Kirishima tries to ask Izuku another question. No one in particular, I guess. I can't think of many heroes that could really train me to use this quirk. Izuku sighed as he rests his head on his arm. Your quirk can be really useful for utility. Your strategies combined with your use of your quirk are brilliant. Maybe a hero all about strategic advances against villains? Kaminari exclaims. Good idea, Kaminari. That seems like it would suit Midoriya well. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Maybe someone like Sir Night-Eye could be a good option. The group of 1A students continue talking for the rest of their lunch break, and after finishing the rest of their classes, on their way back to class, they see a large crowd of students in the doorway outside of their classroom. Excuse me, can we get through? Ashido yells out, trying to push her way through the crowd, with a few others following her lead. Izuku follows behind Kirishima, not wanting to push people aside. They finally get to the doorway of the classroom to see a standoff between Todoroki and the strange purple-haired boy with bags under his eyes. The purple-haired boy had a serious look on his face, staring at Todoroki. Meanwhile, Todoroki looked at the other boy confused. It was silent until Midoriya spoke up, breaking the tension. Excuse me? Sorry to interrupt, but class is about to start and the crowd is making it hard for us to get into the classroom. Izuku explains to the purple-haired boy, who turns to look at him. Class 1A will lose this year. Shinso's statement only made Bakugo angry, but his outrage was silenced by Kirishima, who grabbed him. With someone like him in your class, I fail to see how any of you could become heroes. Shinsoo states, obviously referring to Bakugo. That isn't for you to decide if you win or lose. Just off one person in our class. Shinsoo simply scoffs and walks away, bringing the crowd with him, letting classes resume as normal. The rest of the day continued, with no more conflicts, and everyone went home. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you want to learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered. And with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes for free. You can find the link in the description below. Meanwhile, after school, there was a meeting between two UA teachers going on in the staff's quarters. Showing up as late as ever, Toshinori. Aizawa was drinking coffee between a gap in his bandages at one of the staff tables as All Might walked into the room.
Sorry about that, Aizawa. I got distracted on my way here.
All Might says, before shutting the door to the staff room, before his body is covered in a sudden burst of smoke and his muscle form was gone, leaving him looking much more like a skeleton than a person. You're the one who called me here. The least you could do is show up on time. Anyway, why did you call me here? Aizawa delayed his checkup with Recovery Girl to show up on time, much to the disappointment of Recovery Girl.
Thank you again for agreeing to meet up with me. The reason I asked you to be here is that I'm running out of time with One For All. I desperately need a successor soon. I was shown a few candidates by Nezu, but I want to get your opinion, since you are responsible for Class 1A.
Toshinori said with a smile on his face, turned to one of worry as he spoke about his condition. Fine. I will help you with this. Do you have my student roster with you? It would be easier if I showed you their files. All Might reached into his bag and pulled out several files on the UA students.
There are a few in there from other classes that Nezu suggested.
Toshinori stated, as Aizawa looked through all the files, sorting them into 2 piles. There are students I would recommend. Aizawa states as he slides the smaller pile toward the center of the table. All Might looked through the files and got the list of names. Katsuki Bakugo, Shoto Todoroki, Eijiro Kirishima, and Momo Yaoyorozu. Those students should have what you're looking for. Out of them, I think Katsuki Bakugo could be the best candidate if he cleans up his act.
I don't see young Midoriya here.
What made you leave him out? Well, he has the heart and determination of a hero. After seeing him during the USJ attack, I worry he fears his quirk more than anything. Aizawa explains.
I knew he had a problem with his quirk. But was that the reason to leave him out of the candidates?
Not unless he stops fearing his quirk. Until then, I wouldn't consider him as an option. Aizawa stated boldly. Alright, I will trust your opinion on this, Aizawa. That's why I came to you for help after all. The meeting between the 2 teachers ended not long later, with All Might still not having come to a firm conclusion on who to choose. Meanwhile, the next 2 weeks leading up to the sports festival passed quickly, as students all around the school were getting excited about the great big event. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to say, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check that out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend you an invitation to join our team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day.